Archaeoastronomy means using the evidences from anthropology and archaeology in a cultural background to study the ancient traditional astronomical practices of people. Ethnoastronomy means study of the astronomical practices and customs or traditions in an anthropological way. This is actually a branch of archaeoastronomy. The ancient prehistoric temples, the oceanic travels of people, their way of measuring the earth and the planets and other celestial bodies, all these come under the branch of archaeogeodesic. Using these branches of science, what can we think of the Thrikkur Mahadeva Temple? It is a cave temple. How can we study what was the culture and their practices of knowing the astronomy, the mathematics, sky watching practices from this particular temple? This was done in 2012 with the permission of the Archaeological Society of India, Thrissur Division, and the various temple authorities and the Devasam boards as well as the ASI. With that, I have gone throughout Malabar visiting such ancient temple, Pratyaksha Darshana of the celestial bodies. That observatory is called Ganita. You have probably heard of Ganita Parameshwaran. Just like that, Ganita was practiced in this particular spot. It was a center for that. What is the evidence for all these things? Just saying that it cannot be, no? When I read the book, The Great Arc, he says that it is not the scaling of the Everest that is important for me. But I learned about the Indian way of measuring the Great Arc. Arc, Sanskrit means chaba. That I learned from the South Indian people. Every South Indian temple on the high gopuras or on a very high hill, they go and do this. Greeks didn't know about the Great Arc. They never knew about the Great Arc as Everest certifies. It was from India that the Europe learned about the Great Arc. He also said that when there is no high pointed hill or a very high gopura to measure these things, they will pile up a lot of stones and make something called a drig. That pile of stones they call drig. And on that drig, they measure the distance from the star, a distance from two different places, the arc or the conical distance between two places. All these things they measure, that is being done in Thrikkur. And this is trigonometry nowadays. It is called in Sanskrit as trigonometry. These methods were developed very, very ancient times in India, according to these books. The measurement with the eye, kanna, observation, this has to be corrected with different places. Most ancient astrological and astronomical texts speak of this in Sanskrit. Parahamihira has also said that minimum of 4 people in 4 different spots should observe the same phenomenon, and their views and their observations should be integrated to make the correct thing. Draw a line to Irunilangodu, a cave temple, and there is a hilltop. Then the third one we have to think of, the ancient one, is the Thiruvanjikuli on the banks of Gayatri Pura. So these 3 points, Thiruvanjikuli is at a very low surface, whereas the other 2 are higher up. This triangle, the trigonometry between these, the 4th point, the Varavur area, you find several Thali temples, one of which is Kulasegarapuram Thali. I went personally and saw all these things. So there is no doubt that these things exist. But there are more. If you move towards to the south of Thrikkur, you have Peruvanam Parambuttali and Thrikkur Temple. So the importance of it as an observatory to trigonometric measurements, to measure the horizontal and vertical angles of the sky and earth, all this you can get from that position itself and the name. The whole area functions as a fixed theodolite because the vertical angle is provided by the hill itself. But the horizontal axis, you have to get on the earth. That is provided by the Manali river, which is flowing on the western side of the temple in a north-south direction. So you have on the earth a north-south direction made by the river. And then a vertical thing. That's the real north-south is that earth and sky. To make a cave temple, you have to go deep. You have to mine into the hill, go inside. Then you will not be able to see the stars. You will not be able to see the directions with that. Whenever there is a mining activity, you need a portable gyrotheodolite. Question is to find out, is there such a model seen within the temple? Something which can be ported inside. Actually speaking, there is one. This gyrotheodolite model is there. Now, second problem is, why is there a closed chamber? That is a Tidapilli, Garbhagriha as a closed chamber, joined with the Agnilinga. Agnilinga is in the Garbhagriha. Why is there a pressure chamber like that built? When you prepare Nivedya, the temperature become very hot, pressure build up, the Agnilinga become more hot. How this is used to maintain the water level in the top Shivaganga? Then why is there a magic square on the hilltop? Before the theodolites were used in measuring, our ancestors used a magic square. It's just like a measuring board. That was an earlier method. Not only India, everywhere it was being used. That has been now. Then comes the sculpture of the sleeping dinosaurs. There are two beautiful sculptures on the hilltop. One of them is a sleeping dinosaur with a protruding teeth and the right eye kept underneath the. All the paleo scientists has spoken about these two features. Most of the fossils they found of dinosaurs sleeping, teeth is protruding, and the right hand is just like a pleasure, just as we sleep, no? That type of a sculpture is there just near the Shivaganga. You know, dinosaurs always live near the water. Just near the Shivaganga it is sculptured. Is it somebody who knows this character, who has seen the dinosaur who made that? Or is that a fossilized dinosaur? It's a problem actually, because if it is a fossilized dinosaur, according to the scientists, the Deccan trap started about 45-50 million years ago, and by about 2 million years back, the dinosaurs were totally destroyed. But then who has seen a dinosaur? Who has seen a dinosaur 2 million years back? In Egypt and other civilizations, paleontologists have proven this. But in India, unfortunately, such things are not even noticed. 3 points which are scientifically important for the history of India, for the history of Kerala, for the history of Thrikkur. A Ghatika or a astronomical center means they teach everything. If you want to know the astronomy, archaeoastronomy and this and that, you have to first of all know all the traditions of the country, their culture. Our cosmology starts from kalpas, yugas. They are probably beyond the dinosaurs lived. Several cycles of kalpa and yuga, they go before the dinosaurs' times. So our cosmological concepts we have to first of all know. Then our beyond astronomy, we have to know our mathematical concepts. Huh? Then our travelings. Indian people travelled far and wide before any other cultural people did. No? The others have, Portuguese and Europeans came only in the 14th century. Indians travelled far and wide to Africa, America, Egypt, everywhere. In the prehistoric times, they were navigators. They were seafaring people. No, when you go to there, the importance of astronomy I am coming to. In the sea, when a person is traveling, in the morning hours you can see the sun and determine the direction. But night, only the stars are there. Sometimes there may not even be the moon on an Amavasi night, but the stars will be there. So the stargazing determining the, see, the distance from the stars, the conical distance, and the traveling path has to be measured by astronomy only. And in Veda, there are so many references of the Phanishas. They call Phanisha. The Ashwins are the Phanishas who travel by sea. Later on, Europeans called them Phoenicians. But for us, they are Phanisha. Phoenician are the... These people travel using some measuring instrument, that is the theodolite. Theodolite, gyrotheodolite I mentioned about, no? You can see the Ashins on either side. And there is a person lying down like this. On that the instrument is kept, and there are openings, holes through which you can introduce a telescope. And then on a pillar, you can also see, from just looking at that, we will think that it is a kalasha or a pot. But looking carefully, you will find that it has got a head. You can see the forehead, the nose, the chin, and it is just like looking like this, and something is kept on the eyes, a telescope model. And I asked about that, there is a thing bordered on that. Now it is empty. But that person standing there, I asked, was there any other thing on this? Because only then you can concentrate the rays on it, Looking at the telescope, you can concentrate the rays, light rays of either the sun or of the stars onto that mirror. He said there was a very costly, crystal-like big thing on it. Not only that, a lower round thing, on that also there was just like that, a crystal. But at present there is no telescope there, but the holes are there for the telescope. And similar but fixed stones are seen in the Kulasekara temple with 4 holes. That is a fixed one. So these things are all great evidences for that. One side, Vishnu is lying down. On one side, the Shivalinga, Agnilinga is one side. The other side, that is opposite side of Shiva, Devi. But Devi is represented just by a veena. Then if you go down, very deep down is that Devi temple. And beyond that, the river, Manalipura. From here, from where you watch the Shiva, you can actually go to the other side through a door. Then you can see this dinosaur, second dinosaur. But you can't go beyond that. Or it is closed. So you have to come back, come through the way that you came. So you are the light ray there. The devotee is the light ray there. Then came back here. Then you go circumambulate like this. Go up the hill. On there you can see a Saptamadriga and a Ganapati. Then from that chamber near the Saptamadriga, you have to go up the top. First you see that Padam. Is actually very important, something like mercurial applied on that Padam. Then you find this Shiva Ganga. He like standing like this. That place which they have rounded off is just above the Shivalinga down. This the Ananda Shivalinga. Actually that sleeping Vishnu and the Ananda like this, Ananda Shivalinga is just beyond that. Nobody should put their feet on that. And just beyond that is the Shivalinga. And this people say different things about the Pada. Somebody says Shiva Pada. Somebody says Vishnu Pada. Somebody says Devi Pada. It's different. What it really is, you have to inquire, find out, observe, analyze, no? Unless this is done, how can you make your own... your history is not that vague. Actually, it is there. All the evidences are given by our ancestors. No? But we don't care. There is something called subaltern history. Our ancestors said these things in stories because only then it will be propagated. Only then it will be actually listened to by people who are just like children. But one among these children will become a scientist and then will find out the real thing. That is why they gave it in a sweet form.